All right. So if you can see me, hear me, and see my screen, give me a thumbs up real quick. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So we had, I did a Zoom party this week for Joey, who is working in Jen's group. And she's from Michigan and she's been doing great. She's been on, I believe, and Jen, you can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, 25 training appointments. Most of them, if not all of them, qualified. She got licensed. She got, several $100 bonus. And she's just been doing a fantastic job. Got a great attitude. And so we, as we are, we're trying to run this Zoom party play. Within 3 days notice, she set up a Zoom. I think it was like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we did it on Tuesday night. And it was just me and her. And she had at least 25 guests. There was 30 people on there, but I'm including me, her, and then there was like 2 or 3 teammates, her uplines and stuff like that. But only her and I presented. And so she had 25 guests on 3 days notice. And, many of them had their videos on, they were dressed up, they had great questions. And I started just thinking about how awesome this could be. And I apologize for all the background. I was on my virtual office yesterday. We're on the inches for the renovation for our house. And I'll send pictures out. It's amazing. It's pretty cool. The renovation has gone as expected as the renovation goes. But, they came last week and took pictures because our house is going to be featured in a magazine in Bethesda because the kitchen turned out so great. So we got to take some pictures before the kids ruin it. But anyway, so I'm staying at my sister-in-law's house right now, and there's 7 kids here doing distance learning, and it's just it's craziness, right? So we're all trying to find a corner of the room. So I'm in an obscure corner of the room where I can give training uninterrupted. But so this party was awesome. This Zoom party was great. It's exactly what I intended these parties to be. You put some healthy pressure on a new recruit. You see what that recruit can do in a short period of time, and you get new people bringing people. And I don't know the results. I know we've gotten some appointments and some follow-ups, and some people have watched the webinar. But when I spoke to Joey that day, the day of the meet, to kind of game plan and see what she had said, I started thinking of, as everything changes in our business, everything, as we're pivoting in how we're doing training, how we're doing appointments, how we're closing business, how we're making recommendations, how we're recruiting with the webinars, your language has to change. Your language must change. You have to be able to communicate. Now, the concepts may be the same, but your language has to change. You got to learn how to, just get into the new century, in the new era, in the new technological of our business. And that's why our presentation, we're trying to be very cutting edge, and we're trying to use new power statements. We try to punch up the slides. But in the people business, it's really important, your ability to communicate. I mean, in the people business, our tool is communication. It's our words. And people think in images, they think in pictures. They when you say something to somebody, images start forming in their mind, right? You say financial freedom. Some people might think of a boat. Some people might think of being debt-free. Some people might think of a beach. Some people might think of doing unbelievable things for their family members. Some people think of, first-class flights. Some people think of a huge bank account, right? So when you're talking to people, images come in their mind. And there's an element where we're handicapped here, right? Like if you watch sports, which I know a lot of people do, right? Came on last night, the Cardinals and the Seahawks played, and they played in Seattle, but there's no fans in the stands, right? And Seattle is famous for having, they call it the 12th man, the best fan in the entire NFL, the loudest fans. But you can hear the music on the PA. They're playing fans screaming because they're trying to recreate a live atmosphere with 50,000 fans or whatever, however many people that Seattle stadium holds. So we're a little handicapped. What do I mean by that? We don't have the human connection. We're not in person. So how we communicate our business on the phone or through Zoom is really important. And we want to be able to paint very beautiful and attractive pictures. And if we aren't careful, we can unintentionally create negative images. And so you have to make the decision to become a great communicator. Your vocabulary, part of communication is listening, hearing what people are saying. You need to steal techniques from other people, right? That's why you need to listen and read. And, because when people, and I'm going to touch on this later, when people have, podcasts or YouTube, some of them are very good communicators. You can look at their style and kind of adopt some of the techniques that they use. Obviously, there's a library of people in the company that do an unbelievable job. And I'm not talking about just talk. Obviously, your actions speak a lot louder than words, but you do have to say the right words. And your ability to communicate will help you in many other areas of your life, right? I mean, with your kids, I will only really speak from my experience, but with my children, right? Sometimes things get jumbled up in my head, and I'm trying to explain to my kids, and if it's confusing for me, it's definitely confusing for them. And so if I can communicate better, and if I can tell stories, you've heard this before, right? Facts tell, stories sell, right? If you think about, if you're listening to something on television or the radio and people are just talking, that's fine. But if they tell a story, you turn it up. We all hear a story. And, if you ever read that book, Story Brand, right? There's a couple elements of a story. You have, a villain or a problem. You have a solution, and then what life would be like after the solution. And you got to be able to articulate that really well. You have to intrigue people. You have to pique curiosity. And obviously, like I just said, the more reading and listening you do, the better you'll get, right? And obviously Primerica audios are probably the best, but books are, great. Even podcasts, right? I mean, there are a lot of, very informative podcasts on, people on how they built something, or, something that you're interested in that you feel you could apply to this business. There's so much content out there that's good. It's immeasurable how much stuff is out there. So I'm going to do a little role play here. And I'll do it a couple times, right? Just to kind of, and part of this, we're going to try to make this better. And I'll teach you the words behind the words in a second. But I want you to get kind of flavor of what we're discussing and how we're discussing it. So, if you're in business, the number one thing that you have to be able to explain is what we do. Okay. And for me, it's not that I don't lead with the opportunity. Like I said last week, every company in the world is leading with their opportunity. Everyone. Okay. That does not differentiate you. Everybody, I met with the Vivint Solar guy. I mean, all they're saying, you can build your own, you can do this. Every network marketing company, every multi-level marketing company, a lot of these direct sales organizations, they're drawing circles on a board and saying in 3 years or 18 months, you can have your own office. The thing that separates us is we have a legitimate product, an unbelievable system, and a track record of success. Okay. But we can learn something from those companies because a lot of those companies don't have a product. They don't have a system. So all they rely on is their excitement and business ownership. And, you have the chance for freedom and doing your own thing. So the way I lead and the markets that I'm in, because of my age, right? I'm 40 years old. I'm married. I have 3 kids. A lot of the people that I prospect are about my age, maybe a little bit younger. But when I was 23, I prospected my age, and it was all opportunity. So, I don't have that yet on how we're going to discuss that in different markets. But for me, I always want to lead with what we do and how we do what we do. Okay. So always remember, I'm speaking into a computer. If I was talking to somebody, it'd be a lot more conversational. So what do you do? Well, right now, I feel like I'm in the process of giving birth to a whole new company. Really? What's that? You know what Amazon did to retail years ago? Yeah, sure. I'm working with a group of people, and we feel like what we are on the verge of doing is the same thing, but in the financial industry. Okay. Let's just go through that really, really quick. Okay. People want to be part of a new opportunity. They want to be part of something on the ground floor. They don't want to miss out. And a lot of you guys, if you've been here for a minute or a while or years, or like me, remember how you felt when you went to your first op meeting. Remember how excited you were that you had a legitimate chance to change your life. Before some negativity or doubt crept in, or adversity or whatever, the lies that went into your mind, right? You have to keep that enthusiasm. One thing I love to do, and the greatest technology for me, the greatest thing is pictures on my phone. I take so many pictures and videos. It's crazy. And I love looking at pictures. I love Google Photos, Apples, when they give the memory, and I see my kids, and we have a video of them walking for the first time, or catching a pass, or saying something, or reciting their ABCs. I have so many photos. I know some people are like, oh, you shouldn't put the photo down and experience the moment, but I want to experience that moment 1,000, because it's just very, I'm married for 12 years. I'll give you a tip, right? Somebody said this to me a long time ago. They said, always keep photos of your wedding album very close to you, because always remember that day that you got married, that you were really happy and excited. Those were words to live by. I always have a photo album. I'm always looking at it. Why? Because it brings me to those great moments. That's what you have to do with this business too. You have to remember your first op meeting, your first big event, your first close, your first recruit, your first override check. You got to remember when you passed that exam after failing it for 4 or 5 times, because that enthusiasm and excitement is contagious. I tell people all the time, I've been in this business a long time. I'm more excited today than I was when I first started. That's very rare. I was telling the Feltons, we were talking last night, and I said, I was reading something the other day that 750,000 people just yesterday, or maybe not yesterday, maybe the last week, filed for unemployment. Could you believe we're having this year in the midst of a pandemic? Everything that's going on, all the craziness on the news, all the, we're using more restrictions, being canceled, school kids at home, and our business, we're having banner years. Can you even believe that? It's hard to believe. You got to keep that same energy. Well, right now I feel like I'm in the process of giving birth to a whole new company. New. People get excited when they get a new haircut, when they get a new suit, they get a new job, they get a new car. You got a new opportunity. Act accordingly. Really? What's that? You know what Amazon did years ago? Think about what Amazon did to retail. Everybody's copying them. Think about delivery and Amazon Prime and same day and 2-day and free shipping, automatic delivery. The CEO of Morningstar said Primerica will do to the financial services industry what Amazon did to the retail industry. That's what the CEO of Morningstar, quote, that he said. Morningstar, an independent mutual fund investment rating service, said that about our company. I'm working with a group of people, and we feel like what we are on the verge of doing is the same thing, but in the financial industry. You're using Amazon, you're using finance. Now, I said I'm working with a group of people because if you don't feel comfortable saying and you're brand new or you just started and you want to use it as a team approach, I totally get that. I'll always say that too. I'm working with a group of people and we feel like what we are on the verge of doing is the same thing, but in the financial industries. How's that? The financial industry is a lot like the retail industry. It's really, really big, but it's become a bit outdated and out of touch. Okay. Now that's the tip of the iceberg. I want you to understand. And when we talk about in our presentation, we talk about the op meeting. Okay. Remember why our company was founded. Okay. Our company was founded by a high school teacher to expose the lies that the life insurance industry had propagated on middle income America. Our founder was a whistleblower. Okay. The insurance industry was the biggest, most profitable industry. They had all the in Congress, lobbyists. I mean, they had all the money, legislation. They wrote laws protecting them. And you have a little old football coach talking about, let's sell the cheapest product and take down Prudential, New York Life, Metropolitan Life. If you go to New York City, right? We have a couple people from New York. They know. Look at those buildings in New York. Before the tech companies came, they were all financial companies, mainly insurance companies. And a football coach said, I'm going to take on this industry with a bunch of part-time people. And within 7 years created the #1 company. And now all the companies are struggling. There's like 10, 15 companies. So many of them are out of business. So, and even now, this day, look at what financial institutions are. They are completely preying upon people. I mean, incomes generally are up, but people so broke and financial institutions are doing so well. How does that happen? How does it happen where you have companies that are designed to do better financially, but all they're doing is profiting at the expense of people? So this is a very easy way of saying the financial industry is a lot like the retail industry. It's real, but it's become a bit outdated and out of touch. So our company has created this cutting edge digital tool. It works like a GPS. It's for your money. It shows you exactly how to get from where you are to where you want to go, provides easy to follow directions and reroutes as needed. So people can spend less time worrying about money, more time enjoying their life. Okay. Now, if you think about a person and if you're talking to them, they're going to start owning this story. It works like a GPS, but it's for your money. It shows you exactly how to get from where you are to where you want to go, provides easy follow directions and reroutes as needed. They're starting to think like, well, I have financial problems. I'm stressed out about money. I'm worried about money. We fight about money all the time. I'm not making enough money. Wow, that sounds really great. So people can spend less time worrying about money and more time enjoying their life. Now, this is part 2 of this. It's also a little bit similar to Apple. Apple had been around for a while, just like we've been in business for a while too. But when they created the iPhone in 2007 and put that powerful technology in the hands of everyone, it changed the world. And that is similar in what our company is doing with our financial technology. Now, Gabe, Thomas, Jen, this ain't gonna work for Android. You know what I'm saying? So come into 2020, it's just that. Can you imagine if I said that? It's kind of like Microsoft. It just doesn't sound the same. Okay. So join the winning team. Okay. iPhone, iPad, iMessage. Okay. The Android shop just doesn't, it's just not, the story ain't the same. Okay. So use Apple here, right? It's also a little bit similar to Apple. Apple had been around for a while, just like we've been in business a while too. You're also giving credibility to the company, right? Our company has been around for a long time. We have decades of experience helping people, creating financially independent lives, helping people build businesses in an industry and working, we're pivoting. But when they created, and if you think about Apple, I'm not trying to be funny about this. Just think about this for a second, okay? Phones started becoming popular like in the early 2000s. That's when I got out of college, that's when people started getting phones, 2000, 2001, 2002. And yeah, you had the iPod and you had the Mac, but like when iPhone came out, I remember the iPhone was exclusive on AT&T. That's when everybody moved to AT&T. Everybody. And then when the App Store really started getting big and you could start like using a normal browser on your phone instead of like this weird internet, everything changed. And now if you look at what has happened in 2020 and the fact that people are spending $1,100, $1,500 on a phone and upgrading every year, and the cameras and selfies, and I mean, all these billion-dollar companies, Instagram, TikTok, that are all created from phones and phone cameras. And a lot of these social media apps are created from your phone. Not just social media. I mean, from your phone, using your phone and carrying around a computer with you. I just want you to understand, that is what our company is trying to do. Okay, now we're not there yet. We're not fully developed because there is a lot of red tape, but our company is trying to set up on your phone, notifications, likes. You've achieved milestones financially and paying off your debt and saving money and all these things that you're doing. Our CRMs is going to help people achieve their financial goals. That's what they're working on right now. Our F&A program in the early 2000s was revolutionary. It really was. The financial plan, complimentary, it was free. Everything that we were doing, getting out of debt, all the products, the budget, everything in one-stop shop. Nobody could compete with us. And now we're moving everything to the phone. And this is a lot better because, like our company's branding a 24/7 consultant where you have access and they can text and you can respond and you can chat with your people through your app, everything, right? Like I get a lot of messages every single week now through My Primerica, but they're going to make it real time. So you have to, like I said, you have to communicate and intrigue people with our technology, with the tools, with your words. And it's really exciting because we're talking about people getting out of debt, investing more money, being able to retire